Adrian is my name, and basically I've been doing fish keeping for 45 odd years now, I guess, from the first time I got some fish out of a creek in a property that my mum and dad had bought, what they're called, the mosquito fish. Yeah, had multiple lives in, I'm a plumber by trade, in retail and property and other things, but pretty much at all stages. I was thinking about it the other day, I don't think I've ever not had a fish tank or a fish, of some sort of amphibian, turtles, etc. So yeah, just something I love, and I did this just for me, and people seem to like it, which is cool, and you guys come down and have a look, and it's great. You're probably the second person, I think, as I said, that's not family that's ever been in this room. No one's really ever sort of taken interest before.
So how many fish tanks do you have in here?
Oh, I think collectively with tubs and ponds, it's more than 60, to be 65, 70, sort of between all of them, but depends on what you class. I class sumps as a tank as well, so you've got to maintain them, and I've always got plecos or something living in it, and all these ones over here are full of platies, so.
What fish are you predominantly keeping?
The Hawaiian sunset platies are the most prolific breeders, and I don't really even try to keep them.
Yeah.
So they're the most prolific. I like Tanganyikas, and I like shell dwellers particularly, just the personality of the fish. Not really into Africans, although I have a couple of tanks just because of the species I like. The Siloace is a really cool fish. But mostly Oscillatis. I've got the gold Oscillatis, the black Oscillatis. I've got blue, although they don't really look that blue to me. The Neolamprologus, the multifasciatus, I've got them, the Similis. I really enjoy the Similis. Lay Lukai, and I've got an interesting colour variant. And then, of course, you go over to the South American fish and all types of Tetras and plecos and Corydoras and you name it. So there wouldn't be a predominant, species, really.
When you're setting the tank, what's your idea of how this tank should be set up?
Naturalistic is probably a better word than biotope, because you can't. It's got glass here and here, so it's not really a biotope. And how do you tell the plants? It's a difficult thing. But naturalistic, and if you're going to mix species, and you'll see I've got platies with Tanganyikans, I do that for a purpose. Hopefully the Tanganyikans eat the platies. they keep going. But a position where I use them as dither fish, and I can maximise the tank for the shell dwellers on the bottom. Mixing the two personalities, I know that they get on well. The platies aren't bothered about the shellies at all, in fact, so they put up a bit of a fight if they need to.
What does fish keeping do for you? What do you get out of this?
It's certainly a stress relief, I guess, for me to, everyone thinks it's work, and it is, but I enjoy it, even when it's just cleaning something out. By the time I finish all that, I know I'm going to get to the point of recreating something, and I actually just like to create something from nothing. It's been a passion of mine, I guess, throughout all of my personal life and also career, is if I can build something from nothing, that to me is the challenge, and that's always something that I do. I like to take a tank, a glass box, and then essentially replicate the conditions of nature to put this different species into, and then get them to the point that they thrive. They enjoy it so much that they want to replicate and breed, and then you're creating life, and for me that's a really cool part of the hobby. It's one of those things that you do it pretty much because you love it, and if they can produce enough to pay for their food and all the rest of it, it's a pretty cool hobby.
Okay, so I guess we'll just start by recording Adrian's room. We've got no plan, we're just going to start winging it. We're going to start on this side of the room. You can see all these tanks here. There's an insane amount, and then over this side as well.
I'll just turn those lights off, but yep.
We'll get back into those tanks later, but there's a lot. Adrian, you just take the lead, show us what you want to show us, and we'll go through every tank and show everyone the fish, and yeah.
Cool. All right. We might start on this side and then go around. This is a standalone 6-footer, and it's running off the Aqua One filter down the bottom. As you walk in there, you'll see the fish. You'll see a few stir-bys as well as the albino stir-bys. There was 120 in there. There's probably more now, but they just breed continuously, and I've got a pair of angels in here as well at the moment. They're just hanging out in there. They'll probably stay, and
Is this an albino dantum?
I think it is, yeah.
It's pearl scale though.
Yeah, yep. So there's also a really big, beautiful male black angel in there. He's probably hiding over the back there, but he's spectacular. But he's got a girlfriend on the other side, which I'll show you as well, that I've got him set up paired with. And it just runs continuously. I just do, everything's hooked up to that rather ugly looking manifold at the back there, but I turn one valve on and the water goes in and it overflows out the back through the drain system, and we collect the water outside for our vegetables and other plants and stuff. All of the tanks drain into that particular tank, and then the majority of this side of the room runs through that sump down the bottom.
So just down here?
Yep, it's an African, essentially Tanganyikan sump, and it's all hard water. And going into that, these guys are looking pretty good at the minute. You'll see down here, these are the Lukai. These guys are really interesting. They're a colour morph that I've been able to sort of breed for 3 generations now. The colour for a Lukai is usually yellow, like canary yellow, and you get the orange ones. And I've struggled to find any other pictures or anything online, but I did find a black one. Mine seem to be more purple, I think. In particular, the girls just go this really deep purple when they're in breeding condition like they are now. They spawned in there the other day, but the fry lasted 3 days before the rest of them got them. But there's also some malariae, Julidochromis malariae, in there on the rocks. You'll see they're all babies that have bred in there. Surprisingly, the Lukai don't pick off the Julidochromis. It's interesting, but I'm sure the malariae, they definitely ate the spawn as well. So the next one over, you might be lucky to see if he's
this one
out.
in here?
Yeah, he's an Alanacara. He comes out when I'm alone, but other than that, he's
just shy.
He's shy. The bowl on top there is a standalone system, really, by itself. I built it. I found that bowl, and in a shopping centre one day, and thought that'd make a good fish tank. And I got the light from Bunnings and pretty much just set it up. It runs through air, and I can pull it out if you like and show you the background of it. It doesn't have a fish in it at the moment. I did have a male fighting fish or beta in there, and unfortunately he just got sick overnight really and died in one day, which was unfortunate because I usually keep them for quite a few years. But
I'll give you another one.
Oh, there you go, thank you. If I can put an order in, I'm looking for a blue and yellow one, I think, this time around.
Hellboy?
Short finned, maybe.
Yeah, yellow Hellboy is what they are.
Are they? Beautiful. If you look down here, it's an under gravel filter, but I made it myself. There's nothing to fit that shape, of course. Right down here, you'll see where I just used the end of a filter outlet, and I've a 90-degree 1-inch bend, then I've just got it dragging through the actual gravel there as it goes up. And then I've got the switch down the bottom for the light, which I can just turn on and off.
You've got all the plants too.
Yeah, that one in particular grows quite well with its roots in the water. As long as the stem is out of the water, it's fine. And this is just an orchid. It loves the conditions in the fish room and the lights and all the rest of it. And then the moss is just some moss that I've got off the creek. And
then this top tank, you've still got so many plants too. So these are all connected in the tank?
All in the tank, yeah. So everything, you'll see the roots here, it's quite easy. This is a Spaphyllum, a peace lily, and that's it. It just, all I do is,
there.
When I cut it off, and then I just find a spot for it that the roots can get into the water. And then once I do that, I pull it up past the stem, and that's it. It'll grow beautifully. It'll actually flower. I've only got the one light, the one that you use as well from Bunnings, I noticed.
The floodlights.
Yeah, the floodlights, and that's what grows all those plants.
I just love the plants, like seriously. They're so amazing.
Yeah, from what I understand, essentially terrestrial, they've got the access to the CO2 and the atmosphere. They drag the nitrates out faster. It's like white floating plants are better for your
Most
tank.
of my room now, I'm not even using plants in the tank. I'm just, putting a bit of pothos in the top or something like that, and that's just enough for it.
Well, if you have a look at this pothos over here, I mean, look at this stuff. It just once it gets in the tank, and it goes nuts. But this tank has literally just got my blackworm culture in here, so you'll see them in here. All I do is every night I'll just stir that up, and then you'll see them go through there, and then I feed those to the ones that like the Epistogrammas or the Tiger Darios or something like that. This next tank, it's got the Borellii in here.
I'm keen to see these. I was really keen.
So that's him there.
What an amazing fish.
Yeah, they've spawned. So if I find the girl, she might be around the other side. I talk about All of the fish tanks, I sort of refer to them as a working illusion. They've got to actually support life, and then you've got to work out, well, how do I make them look or sustain that look and sustain the tank? And it's a fine balance between the two. And really, aquaculture is the same as gardening. If you're good at gardening, you'd be really good at aquascaping and aquaculture, and vice versa. So these guys, if you look around the back here,
Oh, she's tiny.
and there are tiny, tiny babies somewhere. They'll be near her, or they might be in the...
I'll have a look.
Oh, well, that was their first spawn. I always, I expect to lose the first spawn of every fish pretty much. If they spawn and they get to actually free swimming, I'm stoked, because I know the next time they'll get to the next stage, and the next time they'll get to the next stage. And
it's amazing. I love him.
he's beautiful, isn't he?
These are your Borellii, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the Borellii, yeah.
So there's just so many different pistos. You'd think someone with a YouTube channel would know, but I don't still. So
This tank's always dirty, but you'll see I've got some really happy Otocinclus.
yes.
You'll see the green emerald cories behind them, which are quite beautiful. And then I've got the blue neon Akara. So these are all my babies, the Akaras. And you'll see them all over here.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How many did you get? Like 20?
They usually spawn about 100 or more.
Wait, you've got more than this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, this is what's left. Yeah,
You had to sell the rest.
I've probably sold about 400, I guess, so far. So, and they're in there with some red-eyed, lamp-eyed Tetras, I think these guys are.
It's cool that you appreciate the Tetras.
I love them.
A lot of people don't like them.
I love them, yeah.
Well, not that they don't like them. They're just kind of, they just fill up a tank, sort of.
Yep, absolutely. And there's a colony of 397s in there. You'll see one in the...
Oh, yep.
So these are, again, my babies. That's the next side. I've got 4 more spawns of 397s from 1 centimetre upwards. So they're the ones that are ready to go. Everything in that tank's for sale except for the Tetras. They're mine. Next tank down is... Again, these two are just for grow outs and for sale. So all these endlers in here are for sale, but they're a line that I'm trying to get going. It's like the flame tail though. See this guy right here? These are the ones I look for.
Oh, that's an awesome tiger antler.
Yep.
So this is your hard water side?
Correct. Okay. Well, this tank's not on that system. I can make it either or, but when I drain it from the hard water tanks for these guys, this one is actually just at the moment full of, I'd say neutral, because if you see I've got a colony of plecos in there, so they're just normal plex. After a few beers the other night, I decided it was a good idea to put the endlers in there, but I forgot that I've got 4 chain loaches and a clown loach in there. So I'm like, yes, anyway, so after I put them in, there was, 50 or more in there. I thought, oh, well, we'll see what happens. But I've been overfeeding the tank, and I know that, I haven't been losing too many, but I'll catch those guys out shortly. If I can get that flame in the tail to be red, then I'm actually that's sort of what I'm trying to achieve. So that's where these guys were in there. This is just a quarantine tub I've got 20 cardinals in there. They're about to come out in the next day or so, just simply because I want them to go in the tank up the top. But
so you quarantine all these fish in your room, in here?
These ones are going into a tank with really expensive fish, so yes. But at the same time, I get that opportunity to breed them. So I'll just now, I'll take the parents out of here and I'll just leave this tank. I won't touch it. And then hopefully I'll get something out of it. And I've got a heap of green water I'll stick in there and just let them go nuts.
These are just, like 80 litre? Not even.
No, I think they'd probably be, what would that be?
40 or 50 maybe.
Yeah, maybe a 30 litre, 40 litre tub, I guess.
So if you've got a tank, you're struggling to get a quarantine tank at home, just...
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a lid that just goes with it as well because of the structure. I'll show you a bit. I like to keep it simple like you do. It's just, okay, that's my quarantine tank. I feed it through the top when I want to connect it up. I've got my air line cut through the top, and it's just a stable little environment for them, especially with Tetras like cardinals. They just love that darkness, and then you just feed them through the top, That was my original quarantine tank, but I've had multiple generations of Apistos.
Nigesini or whatever? How do you say
Nisenji, I think they are.
Nisenji, yeah.
Or Nigensi or Nisenji?
I couldn't, yeah.
They look a lot like, especially the females, like the Pangeras. Look at that boy there.
They are so cool.
So all of these different ages, all my babies, they're all bred through
like
there.
This tank.
I haven't, as you can see, look at the black beard algae. I don't touch it. I just change the water. I top it up mostly. Yeah, they just breed, and then I've got the saucer lids with the holes in them there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah, so just upside down.
Good idea.
And it's a great little spawning thing, and that's where I grow my subwassatang, of course. And these guys down here are just platies. They're the sunrise platies. It's a sausage fest in there with all boys. So every time I get a girl, for whatever reason, she just doesn't survive even with one male. And I don't know whether it's my water, but They were breeding brilliantly, and now I'm down to them. But I'm going to take those guys across into the 8-footer because they're pretty easy to catch, but they also eat blackbeard algae, so I'll stick them over there. And I grow my Java moss in these tanks. These aren't attached to anything other than the drain, and then they'll drain if I just do a water change. For me, a water change is draining it as simple as turning that on, and then it's already coming out of here now.
Wow.
And that's it. That's a water change for that one. So this is where my guppies, where you'll see them in another tank up there, but these are, I call them mutt guppies. This is, unfortunately, that's on the glass. It doesn't come off.
Don't worry.
But they come from pure lines. Like I've got 24 karat golds, and I had kois, and I had different ones, and then all of the ones that I'd culled I kept in one particular space. And of course I've got, you call them pure line mutts, I guess, but they're really, really pretty. That's a tank of mostly wiped out snails, but look, even with anything, you can still see a bloody Hawaiian, I mean, you can see right in there, a Hawaiian sunset plating that. How did it get into there? Look, it's got a lid on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't taken that, I haven't done anything with that particular tank because the snails died, and it's just stunk so bad. I just taped it up, and you let it go and you do water changes like I do, like turning the tap on. But I don't know how it got in there. This is one of the African tanks I've got, which is the Pseudotropheus psilosi.
So you've obviously had quite a lot of success breeding
Yeah, so
these.
every single one of these is one of my spawns, one of the babies.
They're so healthy and fat.
They are, yeah. I love these fish because, it's really simple. The blue ones are the boys and the yellow ones are the girls. There will be some colour morph you'll see between them as they're changing, and you can work that out pretty quickly. Usually their dorsal fins go black, but they used to be really, really common, and now you can't get them. They're just not, available really. So local breeders and anyone like that who's got them, should be breeding them and trying to get them out to fish shops and get them back out into the hobby. So
this is quite a deep tank too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes back quite a bit.
It does. You'll see the green water there as well. I use for the other.
So you do your green water?
Yep.
So how do you do it?
So I get the filthy, disgusting snail water. You only need to start green water, put snail water or something rotten in a nice clean glass or translucent container out in the sun with a lid on it, and it will ultimately turn green. If you look at it really closely, you can see tons of stuff in there.
Oh yeah, you got some little seed shrimp.
There's worms in there, and like tiny little red worms, like micro worms.
They're called dado worms or something like that.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I don't know what they're called. Something weird like that. I'll flash it up, but there's like a name for those. Yeah, Nero worms. I don't remember. It's like some name like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one there is.
Medakas.
Yeah, all the medakas. So
you got platinums and golds, or?
I have. So in there, these are whites and orange. So they don't look so orange in here because I've been in here for about a month, but these guys are brilliant out in the tubs, and that's what I've got outside and going into some of those tubs. There's the orange in one, whites in the others. I've got blue up there as well, which I'll show you. And what I'm trying to do with these guys is I mix them so that what I'll do is I'll split them up and take them and breed them pure, in the tubs outside. But I'm hoping to get some colour crosses in here, like a kahaku or a...
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it be if you could do that? I know you can actually get them in Japan, of course, but...
Good luck getting it here.
Yeah.
We're so far down the pecking order in terms of countries with fish.
I'm going to send you a picture that I saw of a guppy, and I think it's in America, a line that you can get, and it's worth flashing up on the screen.
Sure.
To show people, that would be my dream guppy, and I don't know where I could get that from, but if anyone's got them in Australia...
flick us a message.
Yeah, please send it to me. This next tank is snails. Snails, you'll see I can't stop breeding
Purple
these
foot
guys.
mystery, or?
So I've got the purple foot mystery, the chocolate foot mystery. I've got the white foot chocolates, and what I did probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I started breeding snails, and that's what I was sort of known for with the fish shops is the snail guy bringing all the snails in, and I can't stop breeding them. I don't know what you'll see in the tanks.
Yeah, you've even got like eggs up here, is it?
Yeah, you'll see them. Yeah, absolutely up there, and they're under here as well. And I mean, if I miss them, there's hundreds of snails. I just get them everywhere. You'll see them in the tanks. You'll start to see the consistency.
All right. I love this tank.
This is one of my favourites. I will put some
put it over the top.
bloodworms in here and see what the. I'll just see if I can get this Crebensis here. She's pretty, but.
Cribs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an African tank.
So if I can get the elephant nose to come out, he is...
this is where you have the elephant nose.
He's one of my favourites, yeah.
So is this like an African tank, basically?
Essentially, the fish in there are all African, like Congo tetras, and so there's the yellowtail Congo tetras. There's the normal ones in there, which look spectacular, of course, but the Crebensis are from the same area, as are the elephant nose. Oh, there he is, at the back there.
Yeah, you might not...
There he is.
Oh, yeah. Shy bugger. So you have a few of them?
No, just the one. The reality is these guys, they're quite aggressive to their own. You've got to have one or you've got to have 5, maybe 6, you know.
Do you have a name for him?
No.
Pinocchio or something.
It's weird that their mouth is on top of their nose.
They are a weird fish.
Yeah.
I've never seen like someone keep them. I know that people. Oh yeah, it's like a dolphin. Yeah. Oh well, let's just get him away. Sorry. Well, I guess we go up here for you.
Yeah, so they're the gold Oscillatis.
I love these. I haven't seen these in person actually.
Well, if you want a pair, I'm happy to give you a pair. They're
cool.
One of my favourite fish, heaps of personality. They've only been in that tank about 24 hours now, so they were in the tank to your right.
They're a bit like a marine fish almost, you know what I mean?
Very much, and it's brilliant. If you put your hand in there, they will attack you and they will bite you.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll see if I can.
I don't want to make you suffer, but I know everyone's going to ask on YouTube.
Yeah. If they don't think you're chasing them and you're just moving stuff around...
Oh, you will?
He nearly went me. They're not shy fish. They will come at you.
So these are just like, what are these, eBay lights or something?
That's, just off eBay, yep.
See, I know low-cost setups when I see it. That's an awesome job.
Yeah, it does fine.
People spend so much on lighting, they don't need to.
No, pretty much it grows, anything from there, really. This is a tank of blue Medaka.
Oh, these are cool.
And there's orange shrimp in there as well. I don't know if there's any that you can see the orange shrimp, but there's...
Colourblind.
But then you've got the next one of the blue Oscillatis. The babies that they've had, I've had one spawn, they were really blue, but the parents don't seem that blue to me, but I'm just going to keep on breeding, trying to get that line. But they are the only ones that I found really eat their babies.
Okay.
Which, and they haven't spawned again for me, so I've just moved. In the tank next to them is the Sunspot Brevis, and that massive snail sitting right over the shell, which I'm sure they're both inside. They're one of the only shell dwellers that share the shell, so the male and female will both be in the shell.
Okay.
The next tank over is a 24 karat gold Guppies.
These are really cool, the 24K golds.
Yeah, that's a true line. I think I paid $75 for the trio when I first got them. So I probably had them for about 3 years, like the breeding true. And you'll see there's lots of babies in there if I put more.
Yeah, they'll be all up in there and stuff
Yep.
like that. Oh yeah, oh how cute. I wouldn't mind getting some of these if you had some.
No problems at all.
I have had everyone who's come in ask me for them.
And next tank over, they're
Hawaiian.
the Hawaiian sunset platies.
You gave me a few of these.
Yeah, the babies I've got, I can supply as many of them as you like, but
cool.
they're in all the tanks. I don't know how they get in there. If they were an egg scatterer, you'd understand.
These.
So they're quarter punk tartus, and they've got 2 sets of spawns in there. So you've got one size, and then you've got a tiny, tiny little baby.
I love how they're protecting them from...
Oh, they're brilliant. Yeah, they're
Man.
brilliant. And those platies would eat them, but those quarto punks, they're brilliant. And they'll change their colours when they're angry to black and white, look almost like a convict.
You have babies everywhere.
Everywhere, I know. This tank, there's more quarto punks. They're hiding in the rocks. They've actually got a spawn in there. They're they're black Oscillatis.
Yep. So you keep the quarter punks with the...
Yep. You'll find them together in Lake Tanganyika as well. But the other girls over here, you'll see they've got babies.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of babies in there.
Oh, man. They are so cool.
Yeah.
So what do you feed the babies with?
I just crush up the D-Max flake and I make it almost into a milk and I tip it in and then they seem to do fine.
Where do you get your rocks from?
Just out of the local creeks or creeks on farms and stuff. The next one over is a tank. I'm going to put a pair of the lay Lukai in. You'll see there's a couple of quarto punks in there. See the difference when they go in their angry state? That's the female. That's a female, but she goes black and white, almost like a convict.
He's breathing.
Yep.
That's cool.
This is I'm going to take this off. I just do this because of the...
Oh, so you got a curtain here.
Yeah, anyone that's got metal frame tanks, all I do, because it drives me nuts because I'm not exactly tall, the light shining down, it gets into your eye. So all I do is get some black felt, glue some magnets on, and it's as simple as doing that across the top. And not being good at sewing or whatever, I just
cut it with
pull the
kitchen
bottoms.
scissors.
I just pull the bottoms across, and you get the nice neat front.
Awesome.
So then you can just whip it on and off. But I actually enjoy looking at this tank from both front and back. See the babies over here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I love these cichlid babies so much. Like watching them with the parents.
This is what I say about shell dwellers,
it.
is they thoroughly, they're enthralling when you look at them because, they don't eat their babies. They will protect each other. They'll fight and spawn.
I breed such a dopey fish that, they just are so far from being able to do this anymore. Like, if I gave them enough time, enough patience, maybe on my 10th spawn of GBRs, I could get them, not eat the eggs. But otherwise, it's such a challenge to just see this. So it's really cool to see it.
Yeah, well, I love these guys. They were the first shell dweller I got. To put them into a low boy tank like that, that's 6 foot, I think by 1 foot.
That's awesome.
By,
It just keeps going.
Yeah. But what I like is the view from the top. You know,
Yeah.
as you're looking down, you get to see the whole dance that they do.
You can see all the little babies there too.
Yep.
I love too, like, you know, the pothos up along the top of the low boy.
Yep. Yep. Again, I didn't plant that. That's just one continuous line it's got there itself.
So how long have you had this room basically?
2 years.
Okay, wow.
Yep.
Okay, I thought you'd have it for a bit longer.
It looks that way. These guys are Sankey Koi swordtails. They were the last spawn. That's where they were in where the Oscillatis are now.
Yeah, you can see the koi straight away.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about those swordtails and platies. You can see
What they're going to be.
exactly
Yep.
from the start.
And they're beautiful. Next one over here, that's one of my favourite tanks. That guy there, it's an albino heckelei. And
You bred these?
No, I haven't. This is one of my challenges and one of the projects I'm working on. But there's 3 males in there. I had a female, but she got like a tumour in the eye and literally died within a couple of days of me, seeing it. There was nothing I could do. But I'm chasing now 3 girls, and I will ultimately get to breed them. But
Oh, what are these?
so they're Watroy Cories.
Oh, see you later.
Fast, aren't they?
Yeah.
And rummy nose Tetras. There's
got
about
some-
20 of those, and the 20 cardinals in quarantine are going in there, and that's why they're in quarantine, because I didn't want them to go in there and give anything to these guys.
Have you spawned these koris?
The Cories, no, they're one of the only ones I haven't spawned in the room, actually. I'm expecting them to go now. They've got to get to a certain size, and 7 or 8 of them I've had for a couple of years now, so they're definitely ready to go. I've just got to work out what the trick is. Every Cory is a little bit different. Now, you won't see the fish in there, but you might see the
I can see 'em.
babies. See this little guy here? Right here. So I had that tank. That's done nothing for a year. I've just put a pair of black Calvis in there. I just let them go. I did nothing, have done nothing to that tank. I only cleaned the glass yesterday, and it was only the day before that I noticed something moving behind there, and they've got a whole spawn in there. My mate Tony gave me that pair, and he said it's going to take a year for them to breed, and he was pretty right. It was pretty much bang on a year, and I've got those spawn out, which is really cool. That's the first time I've ever bred Calvis, so I'm happy with that.
These were so cool. Like, while we were doing the interview, I was just looking over.
Yeah, I really like that tank. That I had a vision of those guys because they were in one of the square ones down the bottom with the Similis, and I wanted to get them into a bigger tank, and that was one of the ones that I did plan for, really, and they've just done so well. They're huge. Like the Similis themselves are probably the largest I've ever seen.
There's Similis in here?
That's these guys. So Neolamprologus Similis.
Oh, I was going to say, I've got Similis koris. I was like, where are the koris? No, the Similis. I love this.
Yeah, I hate darkweed. It's in lots of the tanks, but I actually quite like it from that bottom view like that, and I
Yeah,
leave
it's
that
awesome.
tank like that. There's Julidochromis dickfeldi in there. That's the black and white striped ones on the rocks, you'll see. They're breeding in there as well. And there's Cyptochromis black bees. They're really beautiful. They're hard to breed. I got those from a chap in Melbourne, and they're mouth brooders as well. And actually, I've just noticed she might even have a mouthful right now. Female there, you see how pointy she is, her mouth, she's got nothing in it. But if you see the other one, it's a bit of a triangle shape,
Oh,
the
yeah.
female.
Yeah, this one.
Yep, so she's got a mouthful of babies in there at the moment. So I'm going to pull her out. I'll leave her for another week. So this is one of the babies. So I had 7 of them, and they all got smashed. There's 2 left, but I need to pull them out. This is hard to see in here, but I'm really pleased with the results. So the Guppies and Fred number 2 is in there, the balloon molly I got with a tank. But if you focus on the rocks, you'll see tiny little specks there to the right.
Oh, yes.
So that's a Julidochromis.
You're not going to be able to see it well, but yeah, you can see him.
So yeah, you can see him there, see?
Yeah.
And they're actually a black and gold Julidochromis. So they've spawned in there. They've got I think about 20 fry that I counted. That's the first time I've spawned them, but they're, again, really quite hard to find. They used to be common. This tank is a grow out for the black Oscillatis. You'll see one there on top
Oh,
of
they're
that.
so funny looking.
Yeah, and
I love their faces.
really, again, personable fish, lots of aggression towards, you and each other, but they don't kill each other, which is, I like that. There's some Werneri, it's like a princess cichlid, like a Brachardii, but they're a darker version of them, and the scales get quite pronounced as far as the colours that go around each scales. Next tank, that is Brachardii. You see the larger princess cichlid there. That's the sister from
So did
another
you have to
spawn.
do anything for these, or this is just them
No,
raising all of these up?
no.
That's so cool.
Brachardii are pretty easy to breed, and you'll see the Julidochromis transcriptus in there, the black and white checkerboard Julidochromis, so the baby's there as well on the rocks. And
It's just such a marine look.
It is. The
Like
Tanganyikas, it does have that feel to it, doesn't it?
I feel like I've seen this when I've been just snorkeling.
Yep. If you see these guys,
Oh,
this is a black Oscillatis group, so that's a baby in there. That's one of the babies. And you'll see right through the back, there's probably about 20 other little babies. There's one male and 4 females in there, I think, but they're bred, so there's, I don't know, the mixture in there now. But the Danios breed every day. You drop the eggs, the Oscillatis pick them up and eat them. It's a great way to get the free live food for them. Yeah, they're healthy as all get out.
So cool.
Next one down is they're the Sunspot Brevis. If there's anything, if they're coming out at all, I might just put my hand at the back. They might come to the front.
Oh, yeah.
If there's any coming out, these guys are.
There's just fish shooting everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. They're going nuts. Those guys are the spawn of the Sunspot Brevis in the shell up the top, so they're ready to go. I've probably got about 15 or 20 in there. This thing, you might even be able to help me here. This is my L333s that I am having trouble breeding.
I was going to say a few things.
Just give me your advice, please.
I feel like the L333 is not a blackwater type of pleco. This will work really well for like your 397s, but these guys come from what I understand, I'm probably wrong for everyone who's on YouTube, from like really, really fast flowing.
Really clean water?
Yeah, clean, rocky water. So like, just imagine like a huge rain, but no tannin. So you kind of want basically like 30 parts per million TDS, like very, very soft, like basically RO water, but you want a 7 pH or a 6.8 or a 6.5.
Yep.
So like your pH in here probably be like 6 or 6.2, would
Yeah,
it?
for sure.
They're not fussy. That should do it. Like
Yep.
just get it really, really high flow.
Yeah, I haven't been able to crack those guys yet.
That's just the only thing I'd change. Otherwise, just make sure you got a good ratio of males and females.
I might put like an internal filter on there as well. Lots of flow and just lots of clean water. All right, thank you. That's cool. Next tank over is I'm going to put some stuff in this next couple of tanks just to get them going. Ornata pinus, they're another shell dweller. These guys, again, heaps of personality.
Is this your just crushed flakes?
No, this is just some frozen food I've stuck in just so that I could get them going. A lot of them have been a little shy. But these guys, that's the female, it's another female on the left, the males are much darker, but they are really cool shell dwellers again. They definitely dance as they go round and round in circles, and they are very different from the Oscillatis. They'd be more of a multifasciatus. Yeah, they're hiding at the back, the babies, as they do, but they get to a size and then I'm sure the parents start picking them off, so I just need more time to be able to pull the babies out. Really, as they're still a group, it's probably best to siphon them out rather than try to chase them around the tank as they get older anyway. This is a really interesting tank. I'm sorry it's stuck in there, but they're going to a pond outside. But they're extinct in the wild. They're a fish called a gadiid. So they come from Mexico and they're just in there temporarily, although I built this rack around them. So they're from San Marcos. I think they were also reclassified as Eiseni. The males have got the blue bellies and the yellow tails. The females are just the green. And that's the Akara that jumped over out of the tank next to it. So I've decided anything that happens like that, I'll keep him.
Yeah.
he really wants to stay because the tank was for the for sale tank, So, so yeah, they're going into one of the tubs outside that I've set up.
Yeah, you just have all sorts of different stuff here. It's crazy.
And look at all the way this stuff. This is all the stuff where I've
It's
got.
so cool.
It just grows. And
It adds such depth to a fish tank. Like imagine if we just had these racks, but like none of these plants.
Yeah,
Imagine how boring it could look.
yeah, it's too clinical for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see what I mean about this. Once I take that out, you've got...
So you got fluorescence there? Or
no, they're just the Bunnings, the little cheap $27 LEDs.
Oh wow, they're doing an awesome job.
They are, aren't they? So but it blinds me from here, so that's
Wait,
why.
they're just from Bunnings. I need to sort out some lights for my room.
Yeah,
so we'll talk about that.
$27 I think I paid for each of those. I think they're still the same price, so... And for a fish light,
Yeah.
especially in Australia, that's cheap. So then we've got these three here. This is just... this tank's been going... And I brought it over like that from the other fish, and I'd say that's 5 years in its current state. I haven't broken it down. There's some really nice tetras in there.
Yeah.
And a couple of the blue-eyed, I forget the name of it, so they're not blue-eyed, they're blue... Kochu, that's them. There's a male and a female in there, so I'm hoping they live long enough for the baby cardinals to come out of quarantine if I hatch any. And then I'm going to stick those two into there and actually try to breed them because they're really beautiful tetras. The colour's great. Next tank down, I'm going to break this one down very soon. These are Daisy's rice fish. So they're really cool. I like them. These guys come from Eliza at Handpicked Aquatics, and I'm getting a tub ready for them outside. They can't stay over winter. Everything else I'm putting in the tubs is going to stay outside over winter. I don't want to have to pull them in and out, but there's a couple of Maculatus rasboras in there.
She do those too?
Not those ones, but I know she does breed pretty much everything up there. She's got a ton of fish I know you just can't get elsewhere. So
cool.
very cool fish. The next one, if this will be a miracle if we do see, oh, there he is, right there in the middle. So he's a tiger Dario. Can you see him there?
Yes.
So he's a very rare fish, really hard to get in Australia.
Oh, so hard to get.
Yeah. So there's 2 boys in there. I got them as a pair, but they're both boys. Eliza's bred some, and she's got a spare female, so I'm going to get that. But I've got them in there with these guys, the
Kubotu or whatever. Are they?
They're just lime green rasboras, but aren't they cool?
Yeah, what are they? Kubotu rasboras?
Not sure. Yeah, I only know them as the lime green raspberry. Again, Eliza bred those guys.
Oh man, I gotta go and see her room. I don't know if she'd let me, but like,
I'm sure she would. I'll put in a good word for you.
I really want to see how she breeds these things because I, just for some reason, struggle a lot with the little ones.
So that's that side of the room.
Wow.
That's half.
I'll
I'll
the camera
turn these ones off.
I love. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is like all of my interests, like my keen interest for the fish world is like on this side of the room. I love these types of fish. What are the dimensions of these tanks? They look really small on camera, but they're huge.
Yeah,
like in my opinion.
They are an unusual tank. My mate Tony was selling them and he did a really good deal. I can tell you exactly. So they're 460 millimetres.
Like 1.5 feet.
And then these are 600 that way. And I
by
think
2 feet.
600 that way.
By 2 feet.
2 by 2 by, what's that, 1.5 is it?
Oh my gosh. They've been raising their babies in here.
Yeah. I try not to pull fry because otherwise I end up like you with having to have all the fry racks and all the stuff, and I just don't have the room. But
fish also turn into muffins.
Yeah.
Like they just don't know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah. So I'm getting to the point that I need something like that, but I prefer that's probably 25 or 30 still in there out of a spawn of 100, and the Acaras I get 200 in a spawn. It's crazy. So I let them breed up, and I might have 50 or 100 left. So we'll start, I guess, with the
big boy.
The big boy, and they can see the big angels in there, the 2 Philippine blue angels, the
8
boys.
feet.
8-foot tank by 600 by, I think, 600. All the koi angels in there I bred. They're the last spawn. Those babies that you saw on the left, that's the mother. And the big black angel in the other tank on the 6-foot is going to go across there, and I'm going to cross the pure black with the koi just to see what I get. But see the cories schooling down here, the Adolphois. Yeah, they're all my babies. I bred all those guys as well.
Oh, that's cool.
I've got about 100 and something of them. Again, I just stopped breeding them because I could breed them every couple of weeks. There's always spawns and eggs on the glass, but I don't take them out.
Do you have any advice for spawning them?
Those guys are definitely black water and definitely cool change of water. I would probably say 5 to 6 degrees cooler than if it's a 24 degree tank. I would be coming in at 19 degrees, and I would do 100% water change. And
do you ever sell the adults? Because I need a few to try and spawn.
Yeah. I've got quite a few here. I don't sell them really, but of course I'm happy to look after you with them. So I did this as a community tank for all the types of tetras that no one keeps.
Yep.
They get a few of them. So I've got a heap of black widow tetras in there, a heap of Colombian tetras in there, Venezuelan tetras in there. You've got the emperor tetras. I've got the lemon tetras in here, the serpe tetras. What else have we got? The glow light tetras. And there's 5 orange flash apistos.
You'd have to sit here for like an hour to see
everything,
everything,
which is why I did it that way. I like the intricacy of all of the species living together and where they go. And you will see the apistos, they do come out. Especially, actually, I'll put some...
that might make them...
Yeah, you watch when I put this on. I'm sure this will get them going if I put some of this in. They're not shy when it comes to food.
It's like burleying the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love those Philippine blues so much.
Yeah, they're really nice. They'll become a bit of a frenzy, hopefully.
Oh, there you go. There's a female.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, which are hard to get in the orange flashes if you know about it.
Yeah, I need females too. Yeah.
Here's another one over here, another female.
Okay, so we're gonna get a girl show.
And there's at least 25 or 5 centimetre, 6 centimetre peppermint plecos in there. Here's another one of the, looks like another girl. So got 3 girls in there. So the other 2 hopefully will be boys.
I can see another girl too. Oh well.
Well, my mate has got still another 12 of them, I think, or 10 of them. So we'll definitely get pairs, but The good thing about having all those girls is you can buy the boys anywhere.
Yeah, I could give you 1,000 boys for every girl. So
Yep. So
I did breed them once. They were pretty easy, but finding the girls again is just such.
Yeah,
a
once you
pain.
nail it with the pistos, I think you're sort of right pretty much with all species. Whereas with Corys, you got to get that trick with each one. There's also quite a interesting a yellow Chinese
Yeah, I saw
algae
him
in there. He was pretty cool.
Down here, funny looking thing.
I like him. He's cool. So you see the blackbeard algae in there at the moment. I'm going to get say 6 or 7 small Siamese algae eaters and put them in there.
Okay.
And then just let them go nuts and see how long it takes to clean up that, because I think then it should have it under control. Here's the Bircher while he's out. This is Fafnir. Fafnir. My son named him. Apparently it's a Norse god. And he thought he looked like a dragon.
A fat dragon now.
He is, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, I've had him for quite a few years now, and he'd be at least 3.5, 4 years old.
I love this. These tanks are so cool, man.
Yeah, I don't do anything with it. There's a large marble pleco in there. You can see he's sticking his... I'll grab that light again. He's sticking his tail out. He's one of the largest, most aggressive plecos I've ever seen, as in the marbles. Fafnir's a bit of a camera hog too. He doesn't mind the attention.
It's all right. He can have it.
Yeah. I'm hopefully going to get a tiger bircher that Jack's got up in his shop up there at the moment. I'm trying to take enough fish up to him to swap him for the tiger bircher, which is 2/3 the size of Fafnir, so I'll get him a friend. But I don't do anything to that tank, as you can see. Most people would say it looks like crap, but that's just perfect.
Oh, I love it. I love these tanks.
It's perfect for a bircher. They just love... He was in the 8-footer, and he used to hide behind the logs, and I had black belts and filament barbs, and that was a monster fish tank only a month ago, a month and a half. And when I put him in here, he's never been happier. Because I've got holes, I've got pipes, I've got stuff. He just crawls through the whole thing. Yeah, he's never been a happier chappy. This is all the peppermint plecos hanging out the logs.
Do you breed many?
Hundreds, but I haven't had a spawn since I put them in there, which was about a month ago again.
Oh, okay.
So they're probably, they're due to have some bubbies coming out now. Yeah, I've been breeding them for years, and I've never had problems. I used to get hundreds at a time.
What's your tricks for breeding these?
Same as the 397s, really. They do like the high flow. They do like the cold water changes. Good food. They really like, if you do decent protein food, don't feed them too much because they're not just protein eaters. But I find that I put protein food in with the 397s, and they love it, even though they're timber eaters. These guys, even though they're more vegetarians, they do like the protein food. So if I do every 3rd night, I'll feed a protein mix of some sort. And then I found that really works well.
So cool.
When they turn from the elongated sort of...
Yeah, when they're stuck in the
shapes.
shapes.
That's just so cute when they're that size. And then they just hang in all the moss and all the roots. Right. You think there's not hardly any in there, and I go, oh, they must have got eaten, but then I'll count them, and I look through with the torch. And so the mate of her, he died, so that's why I'm putting that big black male over and across into them, and
they'll pair off.
They will for sure. You can see how fat her belly is. Look at the bulge on her belly
ready,
now.
Yeah.
She's ready to go right now.
She's going to pop.
Yeah, he's a nice Akara in here. He's a different bloodline to the ones over there, so I've got 2 different bloodline pairs. Yeah. If you look to the right up behind the manifold...
So these are adult boys.
Yeah. There's at least 100 in there, which of course you can hardly see any of them. Another one right here at the end of the...
So this is all Bunnings play sand?
Yep, Bunnings play sand and pothos. That's just the roots of the pothos, and as you can see...
That's just the roots?
Yeah, so that's just the roots of the pothos. See this one hanging out the tump? That's it here.
Yeah.
So I just place it and let it go. But you'll see all up here, this is all the pothos roots, and then the spaphyllum, you see it's flowering as well out the top. But this is they call it travelling iris here, but I'm not sure of the botanical name of it. But I find it grows really well if you put the roots in there, and if you can attach it to the glass, if you've got straight glass and you put a clip to it, you can put moss over the clip so you can't see the clip. As long as its roots are in the water, like these are just sitting here.
So you clip your plants to the glass?
Look, if I need to, but you see I set the timber up so I don't need to, and these guys, they're just sitting in there.
Yeah, sure.
But there's no dirt on there, the roots just go into it, and if you have a look at the roots coming through then in the glass...
Oh, yeah.
So they just sit there and filter continuously.
Wow.
And then again, the spaphyllum, if you read the little plant pot thing, it says don't give it wet feet all the time. You can see how the roots are completely covered in blackbeard algae, so it's been in there for a while.
Wow.
So all of these tanks, they filter through this sump here. It was always just running through the sump, and I watched Kev on Oz Ponds, and I love the biofilters and stuff where all the water goes to the bottom first and filters up through layers of rocks. So being a plumber, it was a good idea for me then to sit down and try to reverse engineer it. This was really difficult because the levels of the outlets here are very close to the levels of the water here, so I had a whole heap of issues and had to put overflows on it. But basically what happens is all of these tanks, including the 8-footer, drain into this 60-litre garbage bin that I've just manufactured. And you'll see, again, they're just flexible tubes going into the 100mm pipe. And it goes all the way to the bottom with a 90-degree bend. And then I've got various layers of, there's a space in here for sediment to gather, egg crate. And then I've got larger rocks, medium rocks, smaller rocks, and then filter gravel. And what happens is it comes down into out of the 90-degree bend and swirls around, so all of the crap stays down here, and then it hits the egg crate, and then it's got to filter its way all the way up through here. You'll see where it goes out.
It goes out,
out of there, and then it goes into this one in here, and you'll see that's the K3 media, the filter media, fluidized media, so then it just gets all smashed up in there if there's anything left, the bacteria and stuff that lives on that. Then it goes down through the sock, which is, I don't clean the glass here really, and then from there it filters just down through the normal sponges. Again, I've got plants anywhere I can, over the top through the baffle, and then through the sponges, over the top, and then through the biomedia. And all my heaters, there's 2 heaters running in there at the moment. So this is like having 2 fish tanks at home to have all of these, because I heat it in here, and plus it's quite insulated in the garage, and more green water, as you can see.
So that adds so much water volume to that top tank as well.
It does, yeah. It's a bit cloudy now we've fed, but that will all clear up very quickly because the one pump cycles right through, and then everything's going through the bio filters. I don't use chemicals at all. I checked the pH on this yesterday just out of curiosity, and it was 5.9, believe it.
Oh, wow.
So I did a water change and brought it back up to sort of 6.2, 6.4. And the other one's usually 8. I don't do a whole heap. The coral in the filter does the balancing there. If I need almond leaves, or Indian almond leaves, or you can see I just put eucalyptus leaves out of the bush. I soak them in buckets and let them sink for a week or 2, and then all the tannins are out, and I just pull them out, and they're all full of infusoria and worms and bits and pieces, and then I'll stick that into my aquascape, and then once I do that, the cories, they're through it, they go nuts, So these guys are about to spawn, if you can see them going up and down the flow there.
Oh, wow.
So the pandas.
Oh, the panda, you're talking panda cories.
Yep. So they're my main breeding pair of acaras. They've got about 100 babies in there at the moment at the back somewhere, all free swimming for about 2 days. But the problem is the harlequin rasboras get them, or the pandas get them on the ground. They've probably given me hundreds of babies, and they're the main ones that I've had and sold this particular pair. All the babies over there are from those guys. The ones at the top are a different bloodline, so I'm mixing them up.
Oh, I didn't even notice all these plants.
Yep.
So that just helps so much with the filtering.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And then these guys you'll see have got eggs on the...
Oh, yes.
So I stuck that in there because the plecos are...
What are these?
Smashing
Manica Perus or... no, they're not.
I just call them wild type. The male come from my mate Tony, and the other one I got with I think I got it with a tank swap. But anyway, they were just really nice fish together. I really like that look of the wild type.
Especially in a tank, like this.
Yeah, they're bred 4 or 5 times, but what happens is if you look down the bottom, you'll see this is my main pleco tank. I've also got the matai cories down there, which are cool. It just all took off. But there's hundreds and hundreds of plecos, so even little babies. So what happens at night time, if I don't leave a light on specifically for them, they just get smashed as eggs, or they get smashed as, fry. They do need a tank, species only, and I can't help but put stuff in there. If I put angels in there, I like to put cories on the bottom.
Have you bred the matais?
Oh yeah, there's about 70 odd in there.
Wow, I see. Maybe I wasn't patient, but I just couldn't spawn those when I tried.
Yeah, no, there's heaps and heaps of babies. You see them all up there in the rock, up there as well.
Are those your babies?
Oh, there's tons of babies, and I think I counted about 20 babies in there just the other day, which is really, really unusual because the plecos I thought would have smashed the eggs. So I'm guessing they're laying the eggs in all the roots because the plecos aren't going up. The plecos will get the angel eggs on the glass or on there, but they won't get the matai eggs in there. So I don't know why it is, but I've had a ton of success breeding the matais in that tank right now.
You got some more rummy nose and that.
Rummy nose and some neon tetras.
You got some cardinals in here.
Yeah, cardinals and ember tetras on your right as well. And then that's my 397 breeding tank. So you'll see lots of babies when the time is, feeding time. I might even put some stuff in there and see if they come out. But there'll be a couple of
Black Venezuelans.
Black Venezuelans, yep. This one's got a whole heap of 397 babies that are about a centimetre, more than likely if I turn this over. And there's one there.
Oh, yeah, they're so cool.
And so there's little ones here. See this one on the log here?
Yeah, yeah.
Aren't they good? Yeah. And that guy there on the leaf, he's a nice colour.
Oh, yeah. Oh, awesome.
And of course they eat timber. So that's why I've...
Immaculous.
Yeah. Aren't they good?
Okay, wow.
Yeah, that's the fish room.
Guys, it doesn't end here.
We might go out and have a look at the ponds if you think
Let's
that's
do the ponds, yeah.
While it's still light.
Okay, so now we're going to look at your outside kind of fish and birds and plants and all that.
Yeah, so this is a pond it's been in there a couple of months. I don't have any fish in there at the moment, but those blue Medaka from inside are going to go in there. The birds will... Any of the parrots out there?
Oh my gosh.
So the yellow ones are called yellow Turks, and the girl's in on eggs at the moment, but she's...
Oh, see you later.
Yeah, they're beautiful. This is really not even about 20% done, I don't think, in my mind, because I want to get a whole heap more structure to this out here, but this is my outdoor pond area. This tub just has got leaves in it, as you can see, and is just for black water and for plants. I've got alodia and stuff in there and different tubs and stuff everywhere. It's a mess out here, but if you have a look in these ones, there are, if they come to the top, they're tiger Medaka.
It's going to be really hard
Yeah,
to see.
the ponds are difficult. I don't know if you get
It's just because it's the glare, yeah. Oh, there you go. Good enough.
So tiger Medaka in there, and I'm hoping to get, tons of babies out of those guys.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
This one, as you can see, I haven't done anything to it, but it's got blue Medaka in here. There's a couple over there. See them over there?
Oh, yeah, you can, sort of see them.
Yep. And as you saw, we've got kookaburras here, so they tend to love ponds, the big kingfishers, and they take them all apart. I was going to put shrimp in this. I don't know yet whether I just put a whole tank of blue shrimp and just run it nuts outside and leave it for, over winter and everything as well, because I've got shrimp I've had outside for years, and I get blue, red, yellow, greens and all the rest of it. But
Mishlings.
Yeah, if I focus on them. We've got the Sankey Koi swordtails in there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
You might be able to...
Yeah, they're not going to come to where we are, though.
So these guys are...
There's lots of babies. There's a... Yeah.
But they're really interesting because they are a genuine koi.
So
koi
the way you
colour.
make these, this is an IBC tote, a container,
Yep.
and you've cut the top off.
I did with those two, and that was just painful.
Those
Those
two
two there,
over
yep.
there, yep.
So that was a full one like that one, cut it in half, and that's why I thought the next one I'd leave whole. These are on Gumtree in Australia, exactly like this, cut and have the top around them for $65. I just picked them up exactly as they are.
Yeah.
And I've got an air pump out here which runs the whole air system. I've just got the one running. I've turned it off at the moment. This one, you won't see anything in this one at the moment other than, oh yes you will, look, there's the blue crayfish right there. Can you see him there at all?
Yeah, you can see his claw.
I'll see if I can push that back. He's normally pretty...
Oh,
Yeah, that's the boy. Here he is.
going for a surf.
Can you see him there?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's very cool.
See you later.
Yeah, he's gone. So here's the boy in there. I've got a girl in there as well, and I'm planning on just having hundreds of blue crayfish. And again, over
eat
winter, they can just stay there, no problems at all.
Would you eat them?
I would, yeah, if I had enough of them. This I'm just setting up for shrimp. This is just going to be orange shrimp. There's nothing in here at the moment, and orange Medaka.
Okay.
So the ones from inside, they're going to go in there.
It's like a Fanta tank.
Yeah, yep. This tub that I've got here, I think it's 500 litres. It's just got goldfish in there, and old goldfish, 20 plus year old goldfish.
Oh.
Especially the black moor that's there. He's a really old fish. He's probably more like 12 years old. And they look brilliant, and there's some really special ones in here, and the pump will kick back on here in a minute and fill this tub back up. This is one of those biofilters from inside. I've got some pictures I'll send you that you can put up onto the screen about how I've layered it as it's gone up. At the moment the pump's turned on, it's now filling. If you can have a look in here, in fact it'll probably be dry, or not nearly there. What happens, it'll fill up now. The pump's
You can
been
see
off.
it coming up.
Yep, and it'll overflow. But essentially all of the sediment from the bottom, it's filtered up and through here. It's been running about 5 or 6 days now, and is really just a basic sump filter that, again, Kev from Oz Ponds, and it's building up the bacteria as it goes.
There it goes. It'll start coming out there.
Yep, and I've got some Kohaku swords in there as well. You'll see them, the smaller ones over here, and you won't see too much once the water gets going, but they love the flow, and they're in there jumping like trout in the flow. It's really interesting
That's
to
cool.
watch them. This green 500 litre tank here. I've got a second one coming in down here. I'm basically going to have that one overflowing into this one here, and then overflowing into this one here, and then pumping back up through the sump again, and I'll landscape around here. I've already started to dig some steps and stuff in there, but pretty much this, those will be sponge filtered, but this will all be running through the system, and maybe some outdoor rainbows, you know, some Australian rainbows, and
Can we look at your chooks too?
I do. We've got, yeah, they're all out looking for something to eat, I'm sure.
So cool. What do you do with all the eggs?
Well, I give a lot away.
Yeah.
So lots.
You should make fish food with them.
Lots. Yeah, I could do too. That'd be interesting because you can use egg yolk as protein, huh, for baby food. All right, and then we've got inside.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't end here either.
No, so you're welcome to come back and see all of this when it's done too, eh?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So this is the first tank inside. I'm allowed 2 tanks inside, and I've got 2 upstairs, so this is technically not inside. These are the adult Pseudotropheus celosi. And again, been in there about a month. You see some of the boys are coming out and changing colour. They're pale. The yellow ones are the girls, blue ones are the boys. I noticed that one of the girls has got a mouthful in there yesterday as well, so she'd probably be in the rocks, but I've set it up for them to breed and then spit the babies into the rocks and hide. And you can see I've got a couple of plecos in there, which is again, you know, a mixture of Africans and Americans, South Americans, but it works well because that whole window at the back lets so much light in. The tank was just green, and then I put, I think, 5 or 6 in there, and I don't do a thing as far as
It's
cleaning
cleaned
the
it all
glass.
up. I love that.
Yeah, a favourite tank. This one I like, pardon the mess I guess underneath, but I've got a permanent siphon overflow on it. So for me to drain the tank, I turn that valve and it will drain down about 2/3, and the permanent siphons, this one over the back, it's just 3/4 inch black tube, 90mm bends over the top, and I've drilled a hole in the wall. I've also got the hose coming inside, and then it comes up over here. So for me, a water change is turn that valve, it drains down, turn it on, and it fills up. And what I've got, I don't do dechlorinators and all that sort of stuff. If you have a look out here, those 3 filters there, they're actually quite cheap. They're, you know, $300 odd for the total system on eBay, and it takes out all chlorine, everything, chloramine, the fluorides.
So I was going to ask, your tap water is Gold Coast tap water, obviously.
Yep.
So it might not have much chloramine in it.
No, it does. There's a ton of it in, like, because if you fill the bucket up here and drop a goldfish in it, it dies, you know, and that's the problem with water, is that it's supposed to sustain life, and they stick a heap of chemicals in it that they tell you it's to make it pure, but it's not. It's basically a toxic cocktail, so especially for fish. That's got a carbon filter in it and a silver micron filter, and then a sediment filter, and it runs through. I've done the experiment previously with tap water, particularly when I was on rainwater as well. These filters have got enough extraction as far as the media that's inside them is concerned for me just to fill these tanks straight from the tap, and I can't do that anywhere else. And I don't like to use chlorine and all the rest of it. The filters I change every 6 months, and they're $75 for the 3 of them, so it's pretty straightforward. But the thing I like about that's the whole house. And I mean, you know, the chlorine, chloramines and fluoride that's in the water is not good for fish, which means it's not good for us. No. You know, it doesn't sustain life. So that, once you get that filtered out, then I can just do what I did there, is you can have as many taps as you like then around the place, and just turn the tap on and fill it up from there, rather than having to get buckets and siphons, and that's way too hard for me to...
I've got the same thing, but I just don't trust it, hey?
Yeah.
Brisbane's water's even worse.
Yeah, well...
So I still treat it.
Yeah, absolutely, because especially in your position, you need to, double check and triple check everything with your business on it. For me, I've run that now for 2 years, and I've had that where I've actually forgot. I did the water change, timer didn't turn off, and it ran all night. Like, it got down to, I think it was like 13 degrees or 14 degrees. It was so cold. The whole tank, I thought I'd lost everything, the 8-footers and the other 6 tanks. If there was chlorine, chloramines or fluoride, it would have built up over, maybe 8 hours of continuous water change. I lost 1 fish, which was an Akara. They all handled the cold, they all handled the direct, what is filtered water through it. So fingers crossed. Water conditions for everyone's area, you really just got to investigate it and go into it hard. But that I'm really happy with for my place. So better lights on or off?
Oh, it's whatever. It's such a beautiful room. You've got all your beautiful plants here. So you have dinner here?
Yep.
And then you've got, of course, the beautiful fish tanks.
So they're the 2 tanks I'm allowed to have inside.
These more lime green.
Lime green rasboras and the glass bloodfin tetras they are. I really like those guys. In fact, I'm going to take the lime greens out and put them with the other ones and maybe try to breed them. But I really like a species only tank, and that one's really, it's a high flow river system, but it's still really tranquil.
It's so tranquil.
When they're in there by themselves or when they're resting, they'll all rest in a line or in a sort of tight school, and they'll do it facing into the flow, and they'll just sleep, whereas the rasboras keep going. But they look really cool. But see on the log there's a Borneo
sucker.
Yeah, so I've got 2 of those in there, keeping the algae down, and they do a great job. That tank, it's gone through a few different phases, but I built on the right. I wanted to, again, that working illusion, just hide everything as much as I could. And the filter that's in there, if you have a look around the back here, and I leave it like that so you can see it, but you'll see how I've basically concealed it in there.
Yeah.
And it's just a cutlery container that I've cut down to hold it in there, built the rocks around it, silicon them on, and then have that so that we can, at any time, I can pull that out without disturbing any of the rocks and making it a mess every time you touch it.
And what's Monte Carlo carpet and dwarf airgrass?
Yeah, so I don't use any CO2. I've had an issue with some hair algae in this, but I've just about overcome it. There's an auto on the Booster Philandra there. So that's a tank that's set up for those are Vietnamese minnows. I really love them. Tiny, tiny nano fish, really colourful in the sunlight as well. So they come from Eliza.
Man, she has some really cool stuff.
She does. There's black and white crystal shrimp in there, which come out of a night time. There's orange eye blue tiger shrimp in there, which I'm trying to get them to do, to breed in Mishlings. And if you have a look probably around under the cave around that side, you might see there's about 12 or 13 Pygmy Corydoras in there.
See them, yeah.
You see them around there?
Back, yeah.
So I've got a pot built into the rockwork there, so this spider grass I can just pull out and replace with another plant if it doesn't like the wet conditions. So I can remove the top section of the aquascape without touching the bottom
So
section.
can spider grass grow in water?
Yeah, see it over here?
Okay, cool, yeah, because I planted yours that you gave me like that.
Just sitting there like that. And that'll get a massive root system.
Yeah, they grow like the fat tube roots.
They do. The Matten filter just pumps away there. And
then the branch coming out?
Yep, that's just a piece of old basil tree, would you believe?
No way.
Yeah, just basil. I like the look of it, and I thought, what, I'm going to stick that in the top there and grow some old man's beard on it.
Yeah, that's the moss.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I find this very tranquil. It's good to sit around. If
It's
we've
quiet.
got people here, it's quiet. It's a talking point, which is good when people are around the table.
You even got like your atlas of fish.
Yeah, I saw that book in your shop.
Oh yeah, ornamental fish.
Ornamental fish there.
How long have you had that?
Oh, a year or more now, I guess. These are the ones I was really keen to get, which was the E&M Fuller one. So the breeding of the Corydoras. I mean, this book's...
It's got a whole book.
Yeah, all of the different tips and tricks and how to identify them with different fin. That's another one with identifying the different species. And again, you can spend hours just working out which ones you've got, and then once you've got them, you can sort of spend the time doing it. Yeah, so there's the DIY. I've read bits and pieces of that one. You see a lot of stuff on YouTube, but you find so much more in books if you actually sit down and study.
Yeah, I've learnt so much from that one book. So
yeah. YouTube, everyone is just looking for instant information and knowledge. It's just knowledge.
That's got to be really quick.
And I think books, and particularly with time and age and experience, you're not so much into knowledge, but it's more about wisdom. It's more about understanding how things have developed over time. Knowledge is knowing what it is and knowing how to do it. Wisdom's more, well, I've done it, and I've done it for 30 years, and I've bred them this way, and that's true wisdom. And whereas YouTube, it's just the instant gratification. Yep, I know that. I'm on to the next thing.
I think there's only so far you can get watching YouTube videos. I definitely think that reading some of these books, especially if you're really keen, is 100% one of the best ways to learn. Just each night, just go flick through the contents and just find a page.
Something different, yeah.
You find so many interesting things.
It's like anything with life, it's experience. If you've gone through it, then you truly understand it. Fish keeping for me has been learning patience.
Yes.
Patience is the biggest thing. I think if you can sit down and really do it for that right reason, that you're doing it for the fish and for the environment, and to get that thing to a position of balance, you sort of do the same with yourself as you go through. It's patience, it's balance for yourself and balance for the tank at the same time.
Well, thank you so much for letting us come.
My pleasure.
Through your room.
No, it's been cool having you here.
Everything. This is going to be a very long video, so
I apologise.
No, don't. I think everyone's going to enjoy it. There's some amazing stuff to pick out of here.
Awesome, I hope so. So, yep, thank you very much.
Thanks, Adrian.
It's been really nice having you guys. Cheers.
All right, sweet.